This is the meeting room which we share with the European Parliament here in Barcelona. We organise a variety of meetings, debates, press conferences to discuss European themes, and we're also very lucky that many other institutions also come to us with suggestions for interesting events on European themes, and we're very happy to lend them the room, and that's the case today. And we'd like to thank the CatDem Foundation for coming along with this idea and for organising this conference. The theme itself on participative democracy and participative e-democracy is one which is of great interest to the European Commission. Obviously, how each country organises its democratic processes is not a question for the European Union. That's something each country decides. But there is great interest, one, in levels of participation. In all the member states where voting is not a legal obligation, there is concern about how participation levels in democratic processes are increasingly going down. And the other question is, of course, how you can use the new technologies, information technology, to try and facilitate the participation of citizens in democratic processes, either that's directly voting or in other processes, debates, considering all of the participation in democracy, information, and how citizens can express their opinions. So all of that's very important. Over the last decade or so, the European Commission has given several millions of euros in funding for research projects in this area. There was the 5th, 6th and 7th framework projects. There were various university projects on different forms of e-voting and e-participation. In 2005, the European Parliament specifically asked the Commission to prepare activities in this area, and there were around 20 research projects which were much more practical and led to actually voting experiences of electronic voting in Italy and France. So there was all that. I'm sure you know about that more than I do. And in 2009, last year, there was a call for proposals. The Commission made 7 million euros available in funding for projects on e-participation. So it is an area which is very important, although I should insist that how each state organises itself is really for each member state. In the wider context, the democratic principles of the European Union have never been clearer. With the reform of the treaty last year, as you know, the Treaty of the European Union now has a specific title on the democratic principles of the European Union, which makes it very clear how Europe is a participative democracy. And also in terms of the new technologies, information technology, the digital agenda is one of the main priorities of the Barroso Commission, the new commission which started work at the beginning of this year. The digital agenda, it's true, concentrates above all on economic themes. The basic argument that unless Europe is at the forefront of information technologies, we're not going to progress in economic terms. So it's an economic argument. But within the digital agenda, there is talk of the fact that we haven't reached the full social potential of the information technologies, the new information technologies, and that's an area of concern, that we have to try and make that, adapt these to the different social needs. Just some of the figures which we've been given, around 150 million European citizens, 30%, have never actually accessed the internet. So when we're talking about e-democracy and e-participation, we also have to make sure that all those people have access. Also in terms of local administration, government administration, tax, all of these things are now available online, but the take-up is still fairly low. It's less than 40% of citizens work with their local authorities, make their tax declarations through the internet. It's about 38% at the moment. And again, that's important. One, because it's more convenient for the citizen, and two, because of the savings it can make, both for the administration and as taxpayers in the current situation, especially it's important. They reckon, the figures I've got here, are that if the full potential of electronic public administration was realised, there would be a saving of about 15 billion euros each year, based on the savings that administrations have already found in practice when they put these things into practice. So it is a really important area. Last, I'll make a quick personal comment, which was before I worked at the European Commission. I was a university lecturer in the Catalan Open University, which is an internet-based university. And I was very involved in the first Works Council elections they had there, both the unions and the institution were very keen to make those electronic elections. So I think they were the first electronic elections, Works Council elections in Spain. It was about 2004, I think. So it was a very interesting experience, and I've seen at first hand how electronic voting works, what the questions are. So I'm very interested in seeing how the debate has progressed in the years since then. Thank you very much for organising debate, and I look forward to an interesting discussion.